If you want to grow, you want to be the best version of you, you're going to have to hear some hard stuff. I've talked about asking the people around me to tell me the hard things, to tell me the areas in which I wasn't showing up properly, at my best self. I'm going to be the first one to tell you, I, in this current present form on today, am not the ultimate version of me. People live their lives in such a way where sometimes they bleed on people who didn't cut them. Okay, it's going to happen. You have the power to be offended or not offended. You can decide.
Happy birthday to you.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the No FKs Podcast. My name is Jim Sabellico, and this is a Mindset Monday edition of the show. Now, I was just in the grocery store, and I want to tell you a story about that because it's going to be relevant to what we're talking about here in a second. Now, if you don't know me that well, if you've never seen me in person, I'm 6'4". I'm on the taller side. I was just in the store with my wife, and we were going through the grocery aisles, and as we're walking up and down an aisle, I see a older woman struggling to reach something off the shelf, and she's looking around. She's trying to figure out how to climb this shelf. Now, this woman is probably 70-ish years old, trying to climb on the shelves of the grocery store to get something off the top shelf. She can't reach. Now, we made eye contact at the opposite end of the aisle, and I see this lady looking around, and by the time we get closer there, she starts to climb up the shelf, and I said, "Excuse me, ma'am, would you like me to reach that for you?" And she said, "Oh, if you wouldn't mind, that would be so great. Thank you so much. I was afraid that I was going to fall, but I didn't want to bother you because I thought maybe, you wouldn't want to help." I said, "Oh, no, not a problem at all. I'm happy to do it for you." And honestly, this happens to me probably 7 times out of 10 I'm in a store. But it got me thinking. I didn't really think much of it in the moment, but it sort of got me thinking, why not ask? Why have we gotten to a spot where people are afraid to ask the people around them for something that's so obviously easy for me to do? From the outside, you can clearly see my height, my physical ability to reach something off the shelf. Okay, very clear. I am walking down the aisle. I'm tall enough to be able to do it. Why not ask? And it made me wonder if we've gotten to a spot where we are so afraid of offending other people, of bothering other people, that we are literally willing to put ourselves at physical risk because somehow that's easier and less scary than asking someone for help. Have we gotten to a spot where we are so easily offended that it's become normal for us to be afraid to talk to other people because we're afraid that we're going to offend them? Is that where we've gotten? I think the answer is yes. You can't say a thing to someone without them being offended. You can't damn near think a thing these days without someone being offended at what you're thinking. And if you want to level up, you got to become unoffendable. There's a quote that says, "People can't drive you crazy if you don't give them the keys." And that's part of being unoffendable. If you allow other people to offend you by them observing something, saying something, you give them the control. You give other people the control in your life on how you're going to show up. That's on you. You, and only you, hold the keys to be able to decide if you are offended or not offended. And we, as a society, choose to be offended way too flippin' much. To the point where, honestly, I think it's lost its power. And I really hope that it has. Because if we've gotten to a spot that as a society we are so afraid to offend someone else, that we have stopped being open, we have stopped being honest, and stopped communicating with other people, stopped asking for help, we'd rather physically injure ourselves than ask someone to help us. Now, it might not be the case that she was afraid to offend me, afraid to judge me for my height. Maybe, maybe not. But it doesn't change the question. Are we afraid of offending other people? Are you offendable? Look, if you want to grow, you want to be the best version of you, you're going to have to hear some hard stuff. I've talked in a previous episode about asking the people around me to tell me the hard things, to tell me the areas in which I wasn't showing up properly, at my best self. I'm going to be the first one to tell you, I, in this current present form on today, am not the ultimate version of me. I've got room to grow. I have a lot of areas in which I want to improve. I know right now, I am hands down more than 100% better than I was 5 years ago when I started this journey. I can tell you that in a lot of areas. I am not perfect. I know that I've got room to grow. And if I am so worried about being offended when people come to me and say, hey, you could improve in this area, or here's the thing, next time you go do this. It happens with my wife all the time. Let me expand on that. There was a time when I would go do a thing. Okay, and I'll be honest with you, this is a thing that I still struggle with sometimes. I would go to help do X, Y, and Z, wash the dishes, do the laundry, and I did not do it in the way that she was used to herself doing it. Okay, so when she gives me the feedback and says, hey, next time you do this, here's how I would do it. My default was, nothing I do is ever good enough. You're mad at me. I can't ever help. I did it wrong. I suck. That was my default response. Because to me, I was so ready to be offended, ready to play the victim, rather than say, okay, cool. You've got expertise in this area. I don't. Yeah, I've got the time willing to help. I'll take your wisdom. Changing that changed our relationship. Yeah, that's just a sort of silly example that you may have experience with in your own life. But it's applicable anywhere else. It's applicable in the business world. When you do a task and someone says, hey, here's a way you can do it better. Now, granted, some people will come at that the wrong way and tell you, you did that terrible, you suck, and they can be very demeaning. You've still got the option on whether to be offended or not. You still have the choice to think, man, did they come at that the wrong way because they're just in a bad mood because they've got 7,000 other things going on in their life and they just happen to take it out on me? It's probably the case. Okay, that's the case with most things. It's got nothing to do with you. These people live their lives in such a way where sometimes they bleed on people who didn't cut them. Okay, it's going to happen. You have the power to be offended or not offended. You can decide. And when you spend your entire day, when you spend your entire life being offended at all the things that are going on around you, taking it personally that all these things are a vicious attack on you, you're not getting anywhere. You're going to spend all your time in this negative circle where you think, man, I'm just the worst. Where you think, I can't do anything right. Where you start to build up these negative talk around yourself. It's not good for you, man. I need you to snap out of it. I need you to realize that it's not about that. It's not on you. Yes, you can improve. Take the feedback. Go do better. Understand that a lot of times people are going to bleed on you. They're going to tell you things, maybe not in the best way. It doesn't change the thing, but you can give them a little bit of grace and understand, man, that was weird. That sucked. But, all right, man, have a better day. If that somehow made you feel better because you were able to vent it out on me, good luck, God bless. I'll take it. You let it roll right off and you keep on moving. When you can be unoffendable, then you can grow. Okay, that's a really key part of this evolution of yourself, is being unoffendable. And it takes a long freaking time to get that way. You have to be so damn sure of who you are that you're not worried about someone else's opinion of you. Again, that takes time to get to. So I'm not expecting you to just suddenly at the end of this episode be unoffendable. I wish that you could. It's going to take time, it's going to take patience, it's going to take hard work. But I want you to be cognizant of the fact that when you become unoffendable, then you can grow. Then you can evolve into the best version of yourself. Okay, and you are not, again, going to be the best version of yourself once you reach that nirvana status. You're always going to have room to grow. There's always going to be a next level you can grow into. Okay, this is a journey that is never going to end. And I don't want that to seem like a bad thing. Once you start to align the pieces and you figure this out and you realize, hey, the journey itself feels freaking awesome, you don't want it to end. It's like playing this awesome game where you reach this next level and you get all these cool rewards. You want to go on to the next level and you want to beat it because you want to get the cool rewards. That's what this is about. Once you start to level up your life and start to align these things where you could be unoffendable, where you can be on this journey, where you can go and be the best version of yourself, where you want to find that feedback. You want to find out, hey, where are the areas of my life where I'm not showing up the best? Am I showing up the best financially? Do I have a great budget? Am I saving properly? Do I have a retirement plan? Am I wasting my money? Am I stewarding it well? Are you stewarding your time? Are you stewarding your relationships? Are you doing the right thing for the right reasons? There's 1,000 different areas which you could level up in. More than that. The journey is the best part. I want you this week to focus on being unoffendable. Again, easier said than done. Here's a tip for you. When you're going through this week, if you feel offended at a thing, make a mental note. Make a physical note. Grab a notebook. Write down, I was offended at this because of this reason. Feel it, by all means. If you feel offended, feel the feeling. Take note of why. Then you can start to unpack, why did I feel that way? What was it that I gave permission to, or who was it that I gave permission to make me feel this way? You let a negative thought live in your head. You took it a little bit too personally. You didn't give grace where grace was needed. And again, I'm not expecting you to be perfect at this right away. It takes time. Something I still, to this day, will struggle with. Miles ahead of where I was, can still be better. Okay, that's the journey. You're going to continue to be miles ahead of where you were. You could still be better. It's a good thing. Enjoy the journey. Work on being unoffendable. That's where you can grow from. Once you can master the art of being unoffendable, you're able to take the feedback. You're able to use it for your advantage. Okay, think about it this way. Your car needs fuel to operate. What happens if you put that fuel in the fuel tank? It's a pretty important part of driving the car. You're able to go further. Okay, your car has the fuel it needs to go further. You've got the spark plugs. They're going to shoot the fire into the engine. They're going to ignite the fuel. The car is going to go. That's how that works. Crash course in automotive. If you instead take that fuel and you pour it on the car, and you take that spark and put it on the car will go boom. Again, I don't mean to make fun of this, but that's the difference between being offendable and not. Use the things that come to you as fuel, put them in your car, use them for motivation to be better. If instead you layer them on top of yourself and allow yourself to be offended, you're going to explode. And that sucks. Okay, so maybe that's a stupid analogy. Maybe it's silly. Maybe it sticks. Maybe it helps you think about the ways to be unoffended or, use it to level up. But life is going to throw fuel at you. You can decide where to put it. You can decide to be offended and ruin your day. You can decide to give grace and use it as fuel to level up. You got the choice. The choice is yours. I need you to remember that. The choice is yours. Let's work on being unoffendable this week.